Providing objective, factual information about the accessibility and the physical access of a venue is important for every visitor, especially for those who have specific access requirements. If visitors know what there is at the venue, the size and layouts of rooms, access routes, facilities and other features, they can decide if the place would be suitable for them. This is why it is important to make and provide accurate measurements of key areas and facilities for those who indeed need to know. Here we'll see some examples of how it's done.
Here we are in the parking area of the hotel. It is very easy. We just need a meter or a laser distance meter. And we need to know which kind of surface we are on. In this case, it is gravel. Now we have to measure the distance between the car park and the entrance of the hotel. Let's remember one thing. Let's not measure like this, as the crow flies. We have to measure as a person walking from the car to the entrance of the hotel. And let's keep in mind two things: any changes of surface, and let's remember to measure the narrowest passage to reach the entrance of the hotel, 97 centimeters. This is the entrance of the hotel. And let's look at the first thing. Is there any level access to the hotel? In case there is a step, we should measure the threshold of the step. What also we need to know is which kind of door do we have. In this case, we have a two-folded doors, but we might find revolving doors, etc., etc. We have to take note of this. And the other thing we need to know is the clear width passage of the door. In this case, we measure it on the floor like this. In case of a door made of glass, let's keep in mind and signal if there are or not some marking strips, because otherwise people may just hit the glass instead of entering the hotel. Here we are at the reception of the hotel. Well, what we need to measure now is the height of the desk. Let's do it like this. A 120 centimeters. Well, that might be a problem for a people in wheelchair. And now the dining room. We are in front of a serving counter, and let's measure at first its height, like this. And let's not forget to measure anything you should handle, like for example this dispenser or this bottle. And talking about restaurant, follow me, never forget this. We have to measure the distance between the tables and the chairs. For example, let's measure this from here to there. And then, as usual, let's remember to measure the height of the table, but also the free space below, like this. Ah, the menu. That's very interesting. Let's see what they serve here. Well, beside seeing what they serve, it might be interesting to know, for example here, if there are special characters, or if you have a menu written in Braille. Or for example, it would be interesting to know which size and type of font you have here in the menu. And do you serve food for people with allergies or with special dietary needs? That would be interesting. And interesting also to know if you have written some declaration about the allergens in the food you serve. What a beautiful garden, what a beautiful beach right there. Well, every time you have an external space, an outside service in your hotel, in your facility, well, you have to mention it, and you have to give some information on how to reach it. And as always, you have to measure the narrowest passage you may find and the easiest way to get there. Well, in this case, for example, we have a fantastic path, but the problem is we have 3 steps. We better find another place to reach the garden and the beach. Follow me. That's the easiest path to measure a ramp to reach the garden and the beach. Well, naturally, as always, what we have to do, we have to stop and take a measure of the narrowest passage. And you can see now, we are on a ramp. You know how to measure a ramp? Well, now I'm gonna tell you how to measure the slope of a ramp in percentage. And here's the ramp. So what we need to know? Well, we need to know the length of the ramp and we need to know the width of the ramp. And then we have to measure the percentage of the slope of the ramp. So what we need to do? We take the measure of the rise, and the rise is 13.5, 26. Then we have to measure the run of the ramp, which is like this. Altogether, 143. So what we need to do, we have to divide the rise of the ramp per the run of the ramp. And we have, what do we have? 18.5. That's all, 18.5% is the slope of the ramp in percentage.
And here we go. We have to reach the rooms which are at the first floor. So we need the lift. The lift is coming, and then we are going to take some measures. The measures of the width of the door, which is very important. And we're going to do it like this. Remember, always the narrowest passage. Okay? Like this. Then we are going to measure the depth of the lift. Like this. Then we're going to measure the width of the lift. Like this. And last but not least, we are going to take the measure of the highest bottom of the lift. Like this. Bye-bye.
We are in the corridor, and now we have to measure the narrowest passage, this one. And remember, also the length of the corridor. Now we get to the room. Let's take the width of the door, like always. And let's remember the pavement. In this case it is tiles, but sometimes in hotels we have thick pile carpeting, which might be a problem for people with allergies. Now let's take some measures in the room. For example, the space on the left, in front and on the right of the bed, like this. Okay, and now let's go to the switches. Measure the switch, like this. After having taken the measures of the switches and of the sockets, let's open the wardrobe. Let's take the measure of the hanger. And now let's talk about the bathroom, as usual. The switches, as usual. The pavement, as usual. The clear width of the door. But now let's talk about the toilet. What we need to know? Well, we need to know here, the free space in front of the toilet, the free space on the side, on the left and on the right, and then the wash basin. Let's measure the height of the wash basin and also the free space underneath, because it is important for people using wheelchair approaching it. And then the shower. We need to measure the height of the shower tray, and in this case the shower tray is even. Then we have to measure the depth and the width of the shower tray. Then let's pass on and measure the faucets, the height of the faucet. And then let's measure the shower head like this. Okay. And remember, if you want more people to come in your hotel, in your restaurant, in your swimming pool, whatever, you have to talk to the other tourist suppliers of the area, because you are all part of a chain and you can make all together your destination more accessible. That's good hospitality. Now we have learned why and how accessibility information is so important to your customers, and you also have learned how to make the right measurements. Do you want to learn more? Well, Follow us on uptoyou.eu.